There's a particular kind of nourishing and nurturing, I think, that comes from being really seen by another man and acknowledged in all your kind of frailty and wonderfulness and strength and peculiarity. That is different from being seen and recognised by a woman. And I think lots of men confuse or have confused that. So sometimes we'll look to that kind of nourishment from a partner. And I guess it's also true for gay men. But looking for that kind of nourishment from a loving partner, which cannot be given because it resides somewhere else. And I think it resides in this kind of broader sense of brotherhood, which is about being seen by another man and acknowledged.
The call to adventure is always unexpected. This story begins with a handkerchief. The young man had gone home to see his father, the fisherman, for the first time in many years. He asked his father to take him out to sea to show him how to catch fish, and the father was pleased to do so. They spent all day on the water, out in the small sailing boat, and he learnt to catch fish with line and net, and they had a good day together. It was late afternoon, nearly evening by the time they returned to the shore. They pulled the small boat up the shingle beach, unstepped the mast, and the fisherman unloaded the nets and the day's catch. And while he was putting them away, his son suddenly stopped and patted his pockets. "My handkerchief," he said. "I've lost my handkerchief. I must have dropped it over the side of the boat." And before his father could stop him, he dragged the boat down the shingle beach into the sea. He jumped in and made his way out over the first wave, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth wave. His father ran down to the water's edge to call him. But as he did so, the sea suddenly began to get up and great waves rose and tossed the boat about. There was nothing the young man could do. He was unable to return to the shore. The last he saw of his father was of a small figure standing by the edge of the sea, waving goodbye.
And I've worked with this story with a group once. We had 18 men, and the youngest was in his 30s and the oldest was in his, I think, late 60s. And all found a place in the story. And through the story, we were able to see each other and see our own lives reflected in the story and in each other's lives. So the younger men would look down the line of men and say, well, you know, this is the journey I'm going on. If I'm lucky, what's it like down that end of the line? You look really grey and maybe a bit wise. And the older men were saying, well, we are grey, but don't count us on being wise, you know. But it's great to look back and remember where we've come from, and find in us the kind of youthful energy which is so visible with you. And men in the middle years saying, well, you know, I'm kind of stuck in them. I'm kind of partly drawn to the energy of youth and partly I'm looking ahead. And so you absolutely make visible in the room and experience this whole kind of progression of life journey.
Night fell suddenly, dramatically. It was pitch black, no moon, and the great sea swell began to throw the boat around. An enormous storm tossed the boat around like thistledown. All the young man could do was hold on to the sides and pray that he would somehow survive. Maybe it was one night, maybe two, maybe three. It seemed like forever. But eventually, there was a light in the east. On the horizon, a thin strip of light that grew. The The sun rose in the sky. The sea subsided. Gently, gently the boat bobbed to the shore and came to a halt on a beach. As far as the young man could see, to north and south, was a strip of white sand. But no sign of life, no birds in the sky, no sign of fish or seal or any creature in the sea, not even seaweed on the shore. And as he looked around, he saw a rock amongst the dunes begin to move. It came towards him. He saw that it wasn't a rock. It was an old man dressed in a Hessian cloak, his face the colour of old leather, but with bright blue, piercing eyes. "Who are you?" said the young man. "I am the Watcher," said the old figure. "Tell me, what is your name and where have you come from?"
I remember the first time I went to a men's workshop. It was in the 90s. I had no idea what to expect. I was terrified. I thought, I'd be torn up. I found it hard to conceive of a group of men coming together without there being some undercurrent of kind of hostility or rage or violence. I did not expect a kind of open-heartedness and warmth and a kind of the kind of unconditional love of one person for another in a very simple human way. I didn't think that was possible between men. And I became, I think, much more willing to be myself. I think I began to see the world in a more open-hearted way. I began to feel less fearful and less vulnerable. And that's pretty much my experience of working with men's groups, certainly working with story and men is a sort of a greater sense of expansiveness and a willingness to embrace more of ourselves. And it feels like gaining something. It doesn't feel like losing anything, actually. It just feels you're sort of accessing more of ourselves. And for me, one of the things I've again delighted by, kind of shocked by, really surprised by, was when men come together in those ways, there's a tremendous yearning for beauty and creativity. And I think my own, finding my own creative path, without the work that I've done in men's groups and with and for men, I don't think I'd ever have found it. Because it helped me find a creative wellspring which I could identify as mine and male and exciting. Yeah.